Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Before we jump into the show this week, we wanted to let you know that we're releasing the show early this week because of all the great stuff that came out of D23. So we won't have a show that drops on Wednesday this week. This is the show this week. Lots of fun stuff. Enjoy. Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Diz, a show that gives you everything you need to know to help make your Disney vacation as magical as can be in just about 20 minutes. I'm your host, Jeff Coviello. With me each week is Disney Master Sandy from Easy Diz by Instant Impressions Travel Services. Sandy, how are you this week?
I'm doing all right, but I'm feeling the pressure when you said in about 20 minutes. Tonight is a big night for us. It is exciting news you're all going to want to hear. And Jeff and I usually don't do a lot of pre-show talk, but tonight we said we're going to do our best to get you guys all the news so quickly because there's just so much tonight.
I have no idea how we're going to do 20 minutes. I'm just being honest with the listener right now. If you're looking at the time and it's not 20 minutes, I apologize in advance. It's probably going to be my fault. But tonight, as Sandy said, we have a lot of news that came out over the last couple of days. D23 occurred, and so we are going to talk all about that. But I think in order for us to do that, let's give us a quick setup. What exactly is D23 for folks that are unaware?
D23 is the official Disney fan club, D for Disney, 23 for the year that Walt founded the company. And throughout the year, they do some great events, some opportunities to get previews on rides and movies. But every other year, they do this phenomenal conference, and it is the spot that they announce everything. I will be honest, most years, it's a night that I want to cry because as great as the news is, they're always bringing out things that are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years away. And I start getting calls the next day. Hey, when can I book such and such?
Sure.
This year, we do have a couple of 28, 29, 30, 31 announcements, but we have a couple of things that are 2024 still, amazing enough, since we only have 4 months left to the year, and a bunch of 25. So you're going to want to be in the parks in 2025 with all the great things that are coming our way.
So as Sandy said, it is basically a convention that they have, every couple of years, and they announce a bunch of stuff across all of their footprint. But we're going to focus tonight about what they announced about the experiences, right? The parks, the ships, that type of stuff that's coming our way. And I think it makes the most sense to start in Walt Disney World. So tell us what we're looking at.
I'm going to kick it off with one of the ones that I'm most excited about, partly because it's coming real soon, but partly it's something I've missed for years. In 2025, right down Main Street, USA, we are getting a nighttime parade back. And while it isn't my all-time favorite, maybe I'll get a new one, Disney Starlight. It is the story brought to you through the magic of Blue Fairy, and we're going to see lots of favorite Disney characters, everything from classics like Peter Pan to more current like Encanto and Frozen. It is going to light up the night, and you're not going to want to miss it.
Lots of fun, good stuff. I know that as we go down the line here, this next one that we're going to talk about, there's been rumors for years this was going to be its own park. So it was really interesting to me. I did not see this one coming.
This one, the crowd went absolutely crazy. The announcement of a Villains Land, and of all places that it's going, it is in Magic Kingdom. It's going to have 2 attractions, shopping and dining. They're going to start to clear land in 2025. They did not give an opening date. I anticipate it won't be before 2027. They bill it as the largest expansion in Magic Kingdom history. And the last time they used that phrase was when they opened New Fantasyland. So those of you who have been around for a while and know we're not allowed to call it New Fantasyland anymore, but it was when they added Be Our Guest, the tavern, the Little Mermaid, Journey of the Little Mermaid, the shops, the tent, and the new train stop. So picture that whole big piece of land. Now we're going to find that there are rumors it's going to kind of go right opposite that. We'll see it behind Small World, behind Pinocchio's, but big news, largest expansion ever. And I would say, while there are those that love the villains, it's not the only Magic Kingdom news. There was just so much.
No, it's not. And this next one, we had kind of heard about that it was coming, and then it kind of went away for a little while, and this kind of confirmed that it's coming.
Pirates of the Caribbean Lounge, and lounge meaning place for light bites and alcohol. There is plenty of space right next to the Pirates attraction off on that right-hand side. Again, we've seen that area go through some change. That is where the Pirate League was for a while, where you could have those pirate makeovers. So I think we're going to see kind of a reorganization of the gift shop to claim some of that space. And then there's, as I said, a lot of greenery and things to the right of that will end up with a nice size lounge. I think it'll be tough to get into like all Disney things when they're new, but I think it'll become a favorite for many.
I'll be interested to see if there is the alcohol piece that you mentioned, because there's the alcohol options in the Magic Kingdom are very few and far between. They're really more reserved for your sit down dining. So it'll be interesting. I don't know how you have a Pirates Lounge without alcohol, to be perfectly
I was just going to say, if there isn't rum, they're doing something wrong.
Right. But let's move on. We're in the same kind of area of the Magic Kingdom, because we're getting something. We had heard rumblings of, the Beyond Big Thunder Mountain is what it was kind of referred to, very, very casually. But we found out what we're getting in addition in Frontierland.
And I'm pretty surprised what we're getting, and I'm pretty surprised it's going in Magic Kingdom. There have been calls for this for a long time, and we were told this is a California thing. It's going to be a little bit unique. It's not exactly Radiator Racers like we have out in California Adventure, but we are getting not one, but 2 Cars attractions. And I don't mean cars like we see in Tomorrowland. I mean true cars from the Cars movie and movies to come. One is going to be an off-road racer, so it's going to, I'm willing to bet, have a height requirement, be a high speed, going to be a little similar to Radiator Racers, but not exactly. And then we're going to see a Young Racers ride. So one of the things that really struck me about a lot of the D23 news, we definitely have some great new things on the horizon for our young park goers, but there's been a real push to get some more speed and thrill in. So we're going to see that coming.
Yeah, and I think as you saw Tron come in, I think that was a nice little addition to it. It does appear that that's kind of where we're going right here. The area that we will not speak of, that the sun does not touch, that Mufasa was talking about, they have a lot of thrill rides down in that other park in Orlando. So I think they're trying to keep pace a little bit, which makes total sense.
Harry's very busy over in his home there.
Very busy. Very busy. All right, let's move on to Epcot, which I think has like the least amount of news.
It does, but let's be honest. Epcot just finished a multi-year major transformation. We saw that new stage that's going to have that rotating stage show. We saw Moana. We saw the Walt statue come in. I mean, they've really done so much.
Except for that Figment is still staying there going, really?
He is there.
We didn't get Figment news this year. A lot of people thought we were, but we didn't. We got some different news.
We got news again. One of the really popular things that we're seeing is these lounge spaces. And I think partly we all love a good cocktail, but people need a break sometimes from the heat in the parks, and the lounge is a great way to do that. So in Spaceship Earth, what used to be the Siemens Lounge, Siemens was the sponsor. They had this great lounge for employees. Now it will become a light bites and cocktail lounge, similar to what we're seeing over at Pirates, and I can guarantee you there'll be alcohol here.
Well, Epcot is not without alcohol. It's not the same thing as the Magic Kingdom. No shortage of alcohol on Epcot. Let's move on to the Animal Kingdom, which I think had a lot of really fun stuff. Some stuff that we kind of had gotten wind with, which is the first one you're going to mention, and then some totally new stuff.
The first one is the one that my daughter is most excited about. And as you said, we had heard some rumblings about Zootopia coming. I mean, what is there not to love about Judy Hopps?
Right, yeah.
So Zootopia, they're calling it Better Together. Discovery Island, that's where the Tree of Life is. That's where the Bugs Life movie has kind of run its time. That's where we're going to see Zootopia coming. And it's coming in winter 2025. And I will readily say I never understand when they call something winter. because in my mind, it could mean January, February, so it could be 6 months away. But I'm from the Northeast. Winter is also November, December, so it could be 16 months away, and I think they like that great mystery. But we will see a Zootopia thing, I am sure, along with this attraction. We're going to see more of those great characters in the park to meet and greet with. I would love to see them take over a character dining location. That is not news. That is just my wishing it out to the universe.
Now, you mentioned that it's Discovery Island. Our expectation is that it replaces that Bugs Life show, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
And I think we may see it, and I'll talk about this also in another context later, similar to how we have Soaring. Bugs Life may make special return appearances, or similar to how they did in Epcot with the Beauty and the Beast sing-along. I think there's always a chance that we may see a version late in the day or for a specific holiday period where it comes back. But it will transform to Zootopia. And again, because we're talking about the Tree of Life, I'm not sure, besides signage, how much exterior change we're going to see. They are certainly not recarving the tree in any way.
No. But we'll see what the theater looks like, right? I mean,
yes.
Based on your guesses here, if they've totally redone the theater, we're saying goodbye to Flick completely. But we don't know that yet. We'll have to wait and see what we get.
We don't. Time will tell, again, in that mystery winter 2025.
Another repurposed area is Dinosaur, which we're getting another piece of Disney acquired intellectual property where we see some Indiana Jones.
Again, this one, I'm excited for it. I think guests are going to love it. All of these things are going to add to Animal Kingdom really filling a full day now. But I'm lost why some of this isn't going over in Hollywood Studios.
Well, from what I heard too, just to jump off of that, it appears that the Dinosaur ride, the ride vehicle is remaining. I don't know if the track is remaining, but it's an Indiana Jones new storyline to go through that area right now that currently is Dinosaur.
And that ride vehicle is extremely similar to the Indiana Jones ride vehicle that we have out in California.
Right.
So, yes, they will be refronting the whole building, the inside and everything. But it sounds like, yes, those cars will stay. It will be a bit of a thrill, not one of the bigger ones, but it will be, I'm sure, again, a height requirement. But if not everybody in your group can do that, right adjacent to that, we are seeing a new mini land appear, Pueblo Esperanza, which will be the house from Encanto. We're going to enter into the Encanto scene of the day that Antonio receives his gifts and take a boat ride through his room and his dreams of all of the new things that he's getting. So a great family ride. I can only imagine we're going to have some awesome new soundtracks with it. There was a big focus on music at the D23 convention, which was great. And then one of these little things that I just am very excited about, I think it's going to be an absolute masterpiece work of art. They are putting a carousel in there that is going to be, instead of your traditional horses that you see, it's all animals from Disney stories.
Oh, that's cool.
This one, all of those things we just talked about, Indiana Jones, the Encanto, and the carousel, are slated for 2027. We've got a big wait. Don't wait to go. You'll go for some of the 2025 things and have the opportunity to go back, but know that those great things are on their way.
Now, just one question before we move on to Hollywood Studios. When you look at something like, coming in 2027, we don't have, and maybe you do, we don't have any information as to when some of the stuff in Dino Land is going to close, do we?
I think it's going to be relatively soon. They did in passing say, we're giving you all a chance to ride it one last time. So it's definitely not closing tomorrow. But I expect it to close sooner rather than later. Again, they're going to leave it open as long as they can and start doing some of the groundwork around it.
Got it.
Because they want to have as many attractions open at all times for guests in every park. And Animal Kingdom certainly needs that. But I think these 3 new attractions coming, coupled with, I am sure, great popularity for the new Zootopia, is going to make Animal Kingdom a must-do for everybody now.
Okay, so let's go over to Hollywood Studios. And this is when I was talking to my 5-year-old son. I said, what do you want me to be most excited to talk about tonight? And he said the Monsters, Inc. Attraction that they're getting. We are getting a Monsters, Inc. attraction. And then I said, well, it's a roller coaster, Johnny. And he goes, oh, I don't like that. I said, well, you're 5. By the time it's done, you'll probably be big enough to maybe actually enjoy it. So talk to us about the Monsters, Inc. information that we got about Hollywood Studios.
Well, we'll have to get Johnny out to California because Monsters, Inc. does have an attraction there. You sit in a car, you ride through, and you watch the doors move above you, as well as all of our favorite characters. I will give a nod. It was amazing to have Billy Crystal come out and make this announcement.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, who better?
No, very cool.
But again, we're going for the thrill. So the first suspended coaster will be here. You will actually be riding a door flying through the factory.
That's awesome. It's awesome. I mean, I literally said this to my wife. I had to have been 7 or 8 years ago. Like this would be a great ride. We were watching it with our daughter for the first time.
And just the whole Acropolis area, we're not just going to see this single building plunked in. We're going to see a whole section of Hollywood Studios themed around it. Lots of different guesses where it's going. Many of the pictures I thought very much looked like we may say goodbye to Muppets. But again, that part is speculation. The Monsters, Inc. land is definitely coming. Construction won't begin till sometime in 2025. So we're probably about 6 to 8 months from hearing what's going to be replaced or how they're going to find some extra land. There is land around several of the parks that can be turned into parkland that right now is either extra parking lot space, office buildings, or a buffer zone from the highway.
Or even the Galactic Star Cruiser that once was a thing that we were talking about earlier. Too.
I was avoiding saying that.
Well, I can say it. It's fine. And it leads us into the latest thing that we heard about it, because earlier in the week when they had done their film releases, they had talked about The Mandalorian and Grogu getting their own standalone film. We're going to see some of that make its way into the park.
So this is an interesting one that I have to tell you that I'm not sure how I feel about it. Millennium Falcon in 2026 will be getting a new movie, and it will feature Mandalorian and Grogu as you're trying to pilot your ship. So again, we've seen them do this with Soaring. We had Soaring Around the World and Soaring over California, and they do pull one out at certain times. But I'm not sure what's making the fact, whether they're just trying to infuse more of the ever popular characters or what's going on at Millennium Falcon. We are seeing some shorter wait times there. So this will kind of give it some extra life.
I also think it could be the type of thing where you get to experience multiple adventures. So it's like you don't know what you're gonna hit. So it's a kind of a roll of the dice, so to speak.
And that's exactly what we see on Star Tours. So maybe that is true. We'll see.
All right, listen, I think we did very well through Walt Disney World, even though we got a lot of time that we spent on it. Let's go to Disneyland. Let's go to the West Coast and try to make our way through there.
I have to again say, if you haven't been to Disneyland, you're missing out, and the things they're putting in there are incredible. They are opening their Tiana's Bayou November 15th, so just around the corner. Mm-hmm. Right as you enter Disneyland Park, in on the right in the theater, they have Mr. Lincoln, the movie that's been there forever that is a great look at history.
Right.
That will now rotate with Walt Disney, A Magical Life. And it is Walt telling his story, and it is the first ever audiomatronic made of Walt himself.
That's awesome.
Again, a nod to D23. They had Walt's grandnephew there, and he has been consulting on this project. So to know that the family is endorsing it so strongly is just wonderful.
That's really cool. And I love that it's in California. Even though I'm a Walt Disney World guy, I love that they're the first time that animatronic gets there, it's in California. It's a good call.
Yes.
Moving on to the Avengers. We're getting some more Marvel stuff going on in Disneyland.
We knew that the campus had to have expansion coming. There's a lot of space to Avengers Campus. There's a building that's short of character appearances has nothing. And when I talk about a character appearance, they are actually outside on the roof of the building. So we knew something was coming in that building. Avengers Infinity Defense. And they're going to begin working on it in 2025. It's going to be a fast-paced ride through, taking us through the Avengers community. But even more exciting, I think, is the Stark Flight Lab, where you're going to be testing equipment. You sit in kind of this single arm chair. It kind of looks like an arm you would see off a thrill ride or for pilot testing. And the ride is obviously going to have a height requirement, high motion, to do that flight simulator. And different arms will have different experiences. So you're going to want to ride this again and again.
Very fun. Love it. They also did something non-Avengers related over there.
They did. They're going to bring us a new ride based on Coco, which out in California is even more popular than we find it on the East Coast. And again, we talked about creating that new balance of thrills and excitement and family ride. So there is nothing that says family more than the Coco movie. This will be a boat ride that will be for all ages as a Coco experience.
Well, and you talked about how music was a big part of the expo. I mean, that's the biggest part of Coco. I mean, it drives the whole thing. So I'm sure the soundtrack will be phenomenal. Last thing we saw in California is another boat ride.
And, Jeff and I have talked on many, many episodes about one of the great things being a Disney fan for 50 years. As we watch the amount of IP that they have, sometimes it's like they just have so much, it's exploding. And how do they get it all? And how do they, for people who can't get cross country easily, who are Walt Disney World people all the time or California Disneyland people all the time, how can they start to differentiate the two locations still, but bring in more of the IP?
Right.
And so California Adventure will now be welcoming Avatar, Way of the Water, a boat ride coming based off of the newest Avatar movie that is yet to hit theaters. So a great extra there, another great thing to fill your day. And we've talked how my heart is in Disneyland. I love being out there and spending time where I can feel Walt's presence. But we've also talked about it's two parks. They are right on top of each other. It's a great 2-day experience. It can be a 3-day experience. But as they add all of these things, there's going to be that need for more time there. And one of the things about more time in Disneyland that I do love over more time in Walt Disney World is the ease of getting to all of these things. From all of the on-site resorts, you can walk to the parks, and from many of the off-site resorts, you can walk to the parks. So going to the parks, back and forth from the parks, if you're a family that must have a midday break or you want to eat dinner somewhere else and then come back for the evening shows, California makes that so easy in Disneyland. So don't wait for all of this in 2025. Let's, in 26 and 27, head out in 2025 and you'll love all the extras when you go out again in the future.
Well, let's make our way over to the sea where we have stuff that was, I think this was a lot of the long-term forecast stuff, right?
Well, I'll start with the easy current stuff. We know that every Disney cruise ship usually brings one or two theater shows that we've seen before and something new. So we have officially heard for the Treasure, their new show will be Moana. and they have built the tallest puppet they have ever made for any show. It is a 15-foot tall puppet that will interact during the Moana show.
Cool.
And the Disney Destiny, I love this. We're seeing so much of the old school IP. Their new show will be Hercules.
Fun.
So bringing it all back for everybody.
Love it.
We know we talked last week or the week before all about the growth of Disney Cruise Line. Actually, it was last week, and everything coming with the Disney Destiny, all the excitement behind it. And we know that the Destiny is coming. We've got another ship coming that was partially built, not by Disney, that they're taking over. And I had given some dates about the expansion of Disney Cruise Line, and I really thought we were going to be having some quiet time now.
You were wrong.
I was way wrong. And shocking news, the most ever ships built at one time. They've announced 4 new ships coming on. And this I will definitely say, don't wait for them. 27, 28, 29, and 2031. That will bring them to a fleet of 13. There's already so many guesses about where this fleet is going to be stationed. We know they're going to stay true to those 2 ships in Port Canaveral. They are committed to Fort Lauderdale. We may even see a second ship go to Fort Lauderdale because they made a large commitment to them, and they were able to turn an entire location into their own port, where when they're in New York or Galveston, places that they don't go often, they have to share a port area with somebody. So it doesn't have all of those Disney touches. They do their best, but they're putting them up for one day because somebody else is using that location the next day.
Right.
So it wouldn't shock me to see a 4th ship out of Florida. I'm going to bet good money we're going to, at some point, see a ship permanently stationed in Australia. They did a lot of test cruises out of there. We know they're popular when they do their European summer. We may or may not see an addition there. I certainly am begging for a ship out of New York. Make my life easy.
Yeah,
that would be very nice.
Well, listen, a lot of that is speculation. The only thing that's not speculation is we know they're adding. So we know they're coming.
4 great ships, and we'll definitely keep you up to date as that news comes along.
Let's go over to Disneyland Paris, where we do have some news over there.
You know, we don't spend a lot of time covering the international parks, but these 2 bits from Paris were too major not to share. One, we've only really seen this once before at Hollywood Studios. They are renaming the second park in Disneyland from Walt Disney Studios to Disney Adventure World. And we're going to start to see a lot of changes in that park. But one of the great things that they are getting is a new nighttime drone show. They did a test drone show this summer, and now they're going to come up with a new one that's going to be permanent. I am hoping, on the topic of drone shows, you all know I loved the one that was at Disney Springs this summer. It only has a few short weeks to go, and I would love to see them make a drone show there or in one of the parks permanent, because I think what they can do with them is just amazing.
Yeah, I think it's the technology that just is going to end. It's going to end up being something we see consistently. I just think that's just a fact. All right. Anything else that we want to discuss? Anything else that we heard from experiences or Disney vacation experiences?
Just a quick one, because we are definitely way over time tonight. But Disney now has a partnership with Epic Games, and their first foray into it is with Fortnite. Starting in August of 2024, you will be able to start to buy Disney skins for your characters. And they're going to be adding characters over the next several months. But the Incredibles are coming. Disney villains are coming, as well as a limited number of Star Wars characters. So Fortnite fans, I know you were all involved in watching the D23 conference announcement on this through Fortnite. They actually played part of the convention live through Fortnite. Sure. Because it is just such exciting news. So many great things to look forward to. As Walt said, we are never done. It is always changing, and it is more and more spectacular.
Well, listen, the last couple of days, absolutely proved that to be true. And I think it also proved true that as these things change, you need a travel specialist to make sure that you're getting everything done the way you want to and getting it right, having the timelines be right. So reach out to those folks at Easy Diz. Sandy, you know everything that's going on, when it's going on. You can steer people in the right direction. Can't recommend it enough. I really appreciate you stayed up late last night. We're recording this, on a Sunday night. This news just dropped. So you stayed up to catch all of it to make sure you had all the details so you could pass it along to our listening audience. Thank you for that. I appreciate it, and have a great week.
Thanks. You as well.
And that's a wrap this week on Let's Talk Diz. If anyone you know could benefit from this or any show, please share, have them like and subscribe. And don't forget to reach out to the folks at Easy Diz by Instant Impressions Travel Services for any Disney destination planning. Make it a great week. And as always, keep making memories.